Hello, and welcome to Watchmen on the Pod, Kids Edition Plus. We're going to continue today in a Heroes of the Bible devotional. It's a 90-day devotional by Joshua Cooley. We are now on day 5. Yep. So the battle plan from yesterday was list 5 to 10 ways you can give your best to God, and put your list somewhere where you'll see it every day. And that can be anywhere from being on your best behavior, your handwriting. You know, some kids, we start out with the messiest of handwritings, so taking your time and making sure your handwriting's the best ever, and different variety of things, whether it be your chores, whether it be just listening to your parents, your schoolwork, playing basketball, practicing, helping out a teammate. I mean, there's just so many. You could go on and on and on. Pretty much it boils down to whatever you do, in everything and anything that you do, give it to God. Do it as if you're doing it unto Him. So, day 5. A true hero for God, ... humbly turns from his sinful nature through faith. A hero's tale. Oh man, quick pop quiz. Who were history's first babies? If you guessed Cain and Abel, you're correct. God created Adam as a grown man from the dust of the ground, and he created Eve as an adult woman from one of Adam's ribs. But Cain and Abel, and the rest of mankind, came into being through a mother giving birth. Even as babies, Cain and Abel had a sin problem. Because of their parents' disobedience in the Garden of Eden, Cain and Abel inherited a sinful nature. In other words, they were born with hearts that naturally opposed God. This separated them from God, just like their parents had to leave God's presence in the garden. Life wasn't easy for Cain and Abel. Suffering, pain, and death, all of which had never been part of God's original creation, were now a reality for them. But God still loved Cain and Abel. As the brothers grew up, Cain struggled greatly with his sinful nature, even though God lovingly warned him, "If you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you, but you must subdue it and be its master." Genesis 4, verse 7. You know the rest of the story. Cain gave in to his evil desires and committed a horrible crime, killing his own brother. He never seemed to truly repent or turn to God in faith. However, Abel seemed to get it right before his untimely death. He loved God and offered pleasing sacrifices. By God's grace, Abel overcame his sinful nature with a humble heart that wanted to obey God through faith. See Hebrews 11, verse 4. Decoding the message. Like Cain and Abel, we are all born with a sin problem. Thousands of years have passed since the Garden of Eden, but every human still starts life with a sinful nature. And if our sin is not forgiven, we'll be eternally separated from God. The Bible is very clear about this. But God loved us so much that He offered His own Son, Jesus, on the cross as a sacrifice for sins so we could be forgiven. We have a choice. We can choose to be like Cain, who ignored God's warning, or we could be like Abel, who trusted in God's plan of salvation and turned from his sin. The choice seems obvious. Which will you choose? Battle plan. To learn more about our sinful natures and God's plan of salvation, read Romans 5. If you need help understanding it, ask one of your parents or another trusted adult. And last but not least, let's not forget our message from headquarters. When Adam sinned, sin entered the world. Adam's sin brought death, so death spread to everyone, for everyone sinned. Romans 5, verse 12. Well, that's all we have for day number 5, and we'll just see you guys tomorrow.